Good morning. My name is Jackie Gilson. I'm the school psychologist serving Robinson School, and this is the last presentation of the school year for our Kindness Campaign Parent Edition. These are topics that you as a group of parents selected by survey at the start of the school year. And today's topic, our last topic, is recognizing and supporting learning differences. So, today, the purpose of our talk is to develop our understanding of learning differences with the intention of helping parents better understand and become more aware of how to create a continued supportive home environment for your learner. So, I always say this at the start of almost all of my interactions with parents is that you are the only one who can ever be the expert on your child. What we as educators bring is we are very good at knowing what is typical and expected for your child's age. So between our broad understanding of what is typical educationally, socially, emotionally, intellectually, and your keen expertise of your one child makes us a really great team. So, to talk about learning differences today, we first need to pull back and understand that every human being learns differently. We were all born with certain skills, certain talents. The way that we look at the world is unique. And as that we all have these different strengths and differences, this has a direct impact on the way that each of us think, learn, socialize, adapt to our environment, and communicate. Now, these learning differences that occur in every person can sometimes make home or school life more challenging. Some examples are how students learn how to manage their emotions. This might be a harder lesson to learn for some. Being able to effectively communicate what you want and what you need with your peers, within yourself, and with the adults around you. How to get along with others in the context of a small group or a larger classroom or a school community. How an individual cares for themselves or their belongings, or whether their learning rate is at the rate that is expected for their age and grade level. So sometimes these differences can be managed through support, reinforcement, monitoring, collaboration between home and school. And sometimes these problems are so great that they require diagnosis, special education eligibility, perhaps, so that we could provide more specialized support. The kinds of conditions that we often encounter in schools are various disabilities related to development. Autism is a big spectrum condition. Some folks with autism don't require any specialized services, and some conditions are really rather profound. Various learning disabilities that generally don't pop up until later on in the elementary school years, once the student has connected with the reading, writing, and math demands of the curriculum. There are emotional disorders that come up. And another really common condition is ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So the identification, which is critically important, is often starting in the home. And this is how you can help in the process. First of all, you observe your child constantly. So you'd be watching for signs of frustration or avoidance whenever there are learning activities. So does the child pull back and resist? Do they tantrum, show great frustration, maybe some loss of some developmental skills that they had, but there's some resistance or avoidance? Some common signs of learning differences in elementary school is difficulties that you're noticing in reading development, difficulty focusing or maintaining attention, or differences that you've seen in how your child socializes with others compared to other children their age. And this is where it's really important to collaborate with your child's teacher, because again, they understand what is general what is more commonly expected, and you have this very specialized understanding of your child. In that collaboration with your child's teacher, you'll be able to better understand how that difference is showing up in the classroom, and they can let you know what are the areas of concern, if any, and what is typical. And then another stage, which I'll often to talk to families about, is seeking special support, expertise outside of the school community, talking to your child's doctor, connecting with various therapists. And there are a lot of clinicians, a lot of professionals in the school building. We have a social worker, an occupational therapist, a physical therapist. We have a school nurse, and then you have me, your school psychologist. We are all clinicians who you can connect with too, should you have any concerns or questions about how your child is developing. So, how do you help at home? You already are. You are your child's first teacher, and everything that they have become, everything they learn, the way that they engage with the world starts with the way that you have taught them. You are always teaching them, that, which is to say, they're always watching you and modeling after your behavior. Things you could do in the home environment is to create a designated study area free from distractions. Similarly, your child is watching you when you have to do something that requires great effort and focus, and they see the way that you do that. And part of that is providing space that allows you to do that within your home. It's also really important that you have lots of routines and predictable, dependable structures in your home that support learning. And I can't say this enough. It's really important to prioritize sleep. You cannot regulate your emotions. Your body doesn't grow or bounce back from injury, build up defense against illness, think properly. All these things only occur when there's a really good, healthy sleep pattern for you and your child. Other things you can do at home: listen to what your child is communicating to you. Foster a growth set that says that effort is probably more often more important than achieving, which is to say that really bolstering your child when they put forth the effort, because that's where success can be found. Encourage discussion about your school experience that you had, so that your child can then connect to the struggles and successes you had. And hopefully that will then create an environment where your child can talk about their own struggles and successes. And then always find community. You don't raise a child, educate a child in a bubble. It does take a community coming together for that to happen. What I've done here is I've created a QR code that has two websites connected to it. Understood.org is a wonderful first place to go that defines and explains a lot of the conditions that we've talked about today, maybe some symptoms that you're seeing at home, how to be a great advocate for your child in their education from your position as a parent. And then also there is a Family Resource Center on Disabilities that is also a really great primer, a great place to start to better understand various conditions that impact children. And then, of course, Robinson School is a huge part of your community as well. This is a great visual. It has only been made clear to me, having studied and been part of school communities for decades, that all the challenges that we endure in childhood, in adulthood, difficulties in learning, in connecting, in growing, become areas of growth and strength. And very often a child who is identified as having a disability, I have come to realize that that disability is, as much as it's challenging, is also in equal measure a great area of power and strength. So what I'm going to do now is quickly share with you a video about a family in Madison, Wisconsin that is very candid about sharing their journey from looking at the challenges their child had and seeing how it became really transformational for their family. This video actually comes from one of the websites I just shared with you, understood.org. So let's watch this together and enjoy.
Our family, we didn't really have a lot of good communication. None of us were really great at kind of saying what our needs were. We were all stepping on each other's boundaries.
I was still younger, so I didn't really understand why people were doing things and certain emotions were in the house.
As we learned how ADHD can manifest, we were able to name it and address it. We had to learn how to become better communicators, express our needs, and be clear about them before we get angry. My name is Elena Guzman. My family and I live in Madison, Wisconsin. We have 2 children with learning and attention issues. My oldest daughter was diagnosed with ADHD, anxiety, and dyscalculia at an early age. My son was diagnosed with ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia when he was 9 years old. As I was researching, I found that there was an adult ADHD support group. I thought I can help Marcos build skills early on so then they don't manifest so much in the future. I went, and as we were going around and listening to everyone's story, I just kept on thinking, oh, I have that. Oh, I think my kids got it from me. No wonder it's so hard for me to juggle family, work, running a house, keeping our social life going. I felt like I was always finding things that I lost or misplaced, not following through with certain things. A lot of frustration in the house. That caused issues with my husband. We didn't really understand that some of the things that we were doing were very ADHD.
I could tell my mom wasn't the best at the organization. We were usually late if she was driving us somewhere.
I would ask them to do something, and then like 10 minutes later, again, and I would do it again.
With my mom having ADHD, I would talk to her about something and she would be like, yep, I hear you, and then she would forget.
Once they were able to verbalize that that was something I did, I realized I would tune me out too. My husband and I, we separated, and I ended up taking a class for people who are divorced or thinking about separation. It opened my eyes to areas that I needed to strengthen to be in any type of relationship. I think that is how I was able to win them over, to help adopt some of the tools.
Part of that was learning to listen to each other and to ask questions. I remember there was times where my mom would just sit me down and ask me how I think I would learn best or how I could deal with the situation best.
We've definitely grown in our communication skills. When I feel like I'm not being heard, take a breath and just try and reword what I'm trying to say.
I still have very high expectations. The more I worked on taking a step back, recognizing that I'm not perfect, they're not perfect, but we have to figure out ways to meet each other halfway. After 4 years of separation, my husband and I did get back together. We grew quite a bit, just making us a little more accountable and remembering that we are 2 adults in addition to being parents.
Having a certain level of communication and being able to know myself is something that I can take into whatever comes next. I'm going to be attending Beacon College, studying art education and minoring in business.
I'm 4th year of college, doing a double major in film and history. I would like to be able to combine the 2 at some point in the future. I feel like what we've all kind of learned collectively is just patience.
Breaking bad habits, they're not easy, and I'm still working on it. Right now, I'm very excited about where they are as young adults and where we are as a family. I'm a better adult parent.